Okay. And then I think I want to have live transcript. Okay. I think we are good to go. Perfect. Just want to make sure that the live transcript was on there. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Erin Tweed. I have been in this business for 8 years, which is absolutely insane. And so I am just really excited for some of the content that we are going to talk about tonight. So if you guys watched any of the like quarterly recognition, different things that were happening on the Road to VIP page, you probably noticed that there was a top person that was consistently enrolling and had amazing enrollments. And she's a dear friend of mine, but she is just in a season of chaos and crazy. She's got a senior that plays football and different things. And you guys can go give her a follow. Her name's Lori Conway, but she's been in the business over 10 years. And if you go to her page, her like kind of how she's branded herself is called Crazy Busy Mama. Okay. And so I had a conversation because there were so many people that were like, we want to get her on a Zoom. We want to know all the things. And she's just like, life is just crazy and I don't want to not do it justice, but it's also like I'm willing to share anything and everything that's working. And she's working her business different. You know, like I said, she's got 4 older kids, one that's about to graduate high school. And she, like I said, she's branded herself as Crazy Busy Mama, sharing recipes, different things. And so I was asking her, I was like, all right, Lori, like we see your names at the top of the list for enrollments of like customers and different things. And she's got over 900,000 followers just on Facebook alone. And so I was like, what are some of the things that you're doing? Because again, when you've been in this business so long, sometimes it's like, okay, we're learning, we're changing, we're pivoting, we're doing all these things, but what is working as far as, because let's be honest, like when we've been in for 8-10 years, we've seen a lot of things and a lot of things work, trying to figure out different things. And so I'm going to share some of the tips that she was talking about. So she said, you know, life is just crazy, but she said, I sat down a year ago when Facebook was kind of at the platform where they were going to start paying for reels and different things. And she's like, I wanted to just utilize that. Like, why not maximize a platform where you can get paid for reels and different things? And she was like, you know, I decided I wanted to really commit to doing certain things daily. Okay. So she's like, I committed to doing 1 reel a day consistently and putting out content and different things. And I wanted to kind of see like how people responded. What did people need? What are people learning? And so she said, from here on out, so I'm going to kind of go back and forth to the things that she's done over this past year to get to the 900,000 followers on Facebook and to grow the audience that she's getting. And again, one of the top enrollers consistently for the quarterly recognition. When you saw that report, you saw Lori Conway. And so she said, I've done these things consistently every single day. So the first thing is that she does consistently is grow your network. And so she was talking about that and, you know, how can I get my face in front of more people each and every day? And so the things that she committed is she wanted to make sure that she was showing her face, okay? Because it's very easy. And that's why we titled the Zoom checking the boxes. It's very simple to just say, okay, I added to my story today, right? Drop a 1 in the comments if you are guilty of that. Like you didn't necessarily get your face in the camera, or maybe it's not even your before and afters. And I'm guilty of this too. Like I'm speaking to myself. But it's just easy to throw up slides because we know that that's part of the things that we need to do to be consistent. But it may not necessarily be, I'm going to try and like zone out my face because I feel like I can't see that. There we go. Okay. My whole screen was zoomed in on my face and I couldn't see any comments of what was happening. Because I always like to thrive on that. I'm like, what's happening? But you know, it's really, really easy to get into that rhythm of, you know, putting slides up, especially like slides that are already pre-made and you don't necessarily have your before and afters. And she's like, I really wanted to commit to people seeing me, not seeing other people's before and afters, not seeing other people talk about the products. It was me. So she's like, I get on my story each and every day and I share something like motivational or something that's going to be helpful to people. Maybe it's something that I read like while I was doing my devotional. Maybe it's something, as far as being a mom, and I had a conversation with one of my kids and it evolved into something else. And so she really wanted to just create that content based off that. So she gets in her story, she's talking, and then what she's also doing is saying, hey, I've got this skinny coffee here that's helped me lose 30 pounds, and talking about some of the benefits. But people are showing up because they want to get that motivation, they want to see that. But she's engaging and growing her network because she's showing her face, she's being consistent with that, she's putting that out there where people know when they come to her page that they're getting the real life different things. And I'm not saying that we haven't been like authentic in that, but it's very easy to just be like, I'm sure people have seen my coffee stories, I'm sure people have seen this, and it's easy to throw up slides just to get it done when it's chaos and crazy. And by default, yes, that will work. But it's really, really important. We've always said this, even from the 8 years ago when I started like being a product of the product. That's what this is sharing those things along the way. So I'm going to encourage and challenge you to grow your network in that way. Put your face in front of the camera. I know it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I know it might be different for some of you. Maybe it's getting back and saying, okay, I really need to start my own 30-day challenge or 90-day challenge and actually take before and after pictures. I know, again, I'm guilty of this because I'm like, well, I've got 10,000 wrap before and afters, like I could share them, but do I have anything updated? Have I shared any of those little things that I know I was doing in the beginning? And just really consistently doing that. So then at that point, she really started to pay attention to trends. Okay. So maybe it's like engagement things that people are asking. And she would say, okay, like I was talking to people and I was engaging and I was giving them inspiration. I was talking about my products. And then, like, okay, Crazy Busy Mamas, like that's her thing. She's like, do you guys need pan sheet meal? This is what she said, pan sheet meal recipes or crock pot recipes. And so then she's pulling that, engaging all aspects of that. And people, most of the time, when you go to the Crazy Busy Mama, they're going to get quick, easy recipes, like fun recipes, different things, but they're also getting that consistent content. And so this is going to look different for each and every person on this Zoom, what you can bring to the table. And I know we've had a lot of amazing Zooms with talking about your pillars and different things, but maybe this is just your reminder to sit down and do that again. Figure out what are your new pillars, what are things that you can bring. Maybe it's just pulling out your devotion or whatever book and making 5 minutes and just saying, okay, like what can I put in front of my stories, like that I can share, that I feel like, oh, this moved me, share it. Because I promise you, probably somebody else needs to hear it too. Okay, so first thing, grow your network. Again, she's kind of doing all these things, repeating, and then consistently, that's the thing that she was doing. She wanted to grow her network by consistently showing up for like her people. So the second thing, like I said, kind of leading into that, is every single morning she shows up consistently. Like she's creating content, and she's like, I committed to doing 6 days out of the week. Out of the 7, Sunday is her Sabbath. And so she's like, I'm creating content, I'm putting things out there, I'm consistently in my stories and talking about that, giving those different tips. So that way she's growing her network by consistently being there, but then also engaging and looking at the trends that she's doing as far as content and those kind of conversations and different things. And also too, the other thing that I want to mention, when she was talking about your network is, and I'm sure, drop a 2 if you feel like this. Sometimes you can feel like if you're in the position of doing host to post or different things, and you're like, hey, I'm building my audience and I'm doing these things, but you're kind of just in like survival mode with your audience, right? So if you don't have you can be in a survival network, let's say that, versus a thriving network. So if you have a thriving network where you're funneling people in because you're bringing valuable content, you're talking about things that people can learn from. And again, it's easy, simple things. But otherwise, sometimes we feel like, well, I'm doing these things all the time, but you're in survival mode of your network, right? So you're just like posting the same people, hoping that the same like people are doing it, but you're not consistently bringing new things that people can funnel into to learn more, and to grow that network as far as that goes. So you want to make sure. So if you don't have a thriving network, then we have a surviving network. And so you want to make sure that your network's thriving, you're growing it, you're expanding it, you're bringing things that people can learn from you. Okay. So again, it might be different. And, you know, I was even sitting there brainstorming like, okay, what are things that I can get back to sharing and different things of that nature, because I know some of them are important. And we might feel like it's redundant, but people need to see it and hear it. And then, so every single morning showing up. So first thing, grow your network. Second thing, showing up and giving inspiration, whatever that looks like for you. It might be different. Putting her face on there. I'm reiterating this again because I think it's super important, not just throwing up somebody else's slides. And then the third thing is she's asking. She's making sure that she's asking every single day. So not just messaging people to say, hey, will you join my team? Hey, will you try this product? She's asking and engaging so that way she's able to get more content. So started asking people by sharing her own results, because she was talking about her before and afters and sharing and just saying, hey, if you'd like more information on this product, like I'd love to chat more, putting that in her story. So it's all kind of coming together. And so these can kind of be done simultaneously, but it's very simple reminders. And then, like I said, she's asking and engaging those questions. So all of these are going to funnel together as far as growing your network, showing up each and every day and committing to that, and then asking the question. Because I think sometimes we can get so caught up in posting and just putting stuff up there, or copying, pasting things because we know we have to get our 5 to 10 host posts up a day, or, hey, this is happening. And I understand that some days are busier than others. But it's just really, really important to be putting that stuff out there for your audience. And like, what does that look like? And so for me, it was a great, like I said, a great reminder, just because some days it's easier to just like, okay, I screenshot some slides and I can put them up my story, and I've checked that box to say, share to FB story, share to Instagram story, or, okay, let me copy and post something. And some of those quick ones, they are great. I'm not saying that I'm like opposed to that, but how much more valuable is the content when you're showing your face and engaging with your audience? And so maybe it's just starting with like one simple thing of a question, like, you know, maybe it's something that you feel a little bit passionate about, that you're like, hey, I could maybe share something. Ask your audience, like, hey, would you want to learn about this or this? Like, put up a poll. And then that's going to be your first branch into that new level. But again, what it's doing is it's bringing you content. It's making you more excited because you're doing the things that you love, like getting back to those things. And so I was talking to Brittany Landrum, and she's like, I really miss your workout posts. And I was like, you know what? Half the time I don't take pictures because of like my workouts, because I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting changed out of my pajamas. Okay. So this is what I will work out in the morning, because I'm like, why am I going to dirty another outfit at 5 a.m. just to shower and get ready? And so I've been in this mode. She's like, you need to post about that. I'm like, okay. Like that was just the thing that I'm like, I love doing those things. And that was the thing that I was always consistently posting. But I was like, oh, I'm working out my jammies. Like, people, no, I'm just going to post about it. You know, so think of those creative little things that, you know, maybe bring something special to you. Maybe you love like crock pot meals or sharing things, or maybe you love reading a certain piece, or maybe you have like a really amazing hobby that you could teach somebody a little bit of something. That just brings that spice and flavor to your page and different things. So, Claire, I know that was kind of short and sweet, but really, I mean, it was, you know, the basis of the content. Is there anything that I missed? Because I know like we kind of talked about this and things. Oh, wait, hold on. You got to unmute.
Sorry. No, I mean, you really covered all of it. Like that was the thing. It was really so simple. I think one thing that I loved that she said in her voice message to you was, she said, you know, none of this is going to sound mind blowing or like all that innovative or new to you guys. It's going to be stuff that you've done before. But the difference is that she said what she feels the real game changer and the real difference was waking up every single morning saying, how can I get in front of the most eyes today? And I know Erin kind of started with that too, of like, how can I have more people see me today? But for her, that translated over into like every network. Like, how can I get more eyes on TikTok today? How can I get more eyes on Instagram today? How can I get more eyes on Facebook today? And I just feel like if we start our day with that in mind, it really does change a lot to say like, not only am I just going to like get up my 10 host posts, exactly, checking the boxes, get up my 10 host posts, get into a few new conversations, like, okay, I clocked in for the day, I'm done. But if we actually went into it with like, how can I get the most people to see me today? And just kind of figuring out that thing. And I think what was really inspiring about Lori is she just figured out her thing. And I want to just give you one little tip. And I did say this, if you guys were on the Spirit Week Zooms, I did mention this on the Zoom, but your social media will already tell you what your brand is. Like if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't know what my thing is, think in your social media, dig back a little bit if you need to, what performs the best? When you do a reel, when you make a post, what are the posts? Ashley Grady and I were talking about this the other day. Like what post can you put up that you know is going to kind of shock your social media into getting a ton of comments? Like maybe you've had no comments for a while, but you know, if you put up a picture of XYZ, bam, you're going to get a bunch of comments, you know, like maybe it's a picture of your kids, maybe it's a picture of your dogs, maybe whatever it is. For Ashley, it's her raccoons, which is the coolest thing ever. But whatever it is that maybe like gets your audience excited, okay, that's a direction for you. Start going in that direction and then maybe use the ask tool as a way to fine tune it. Like for me, my marriage videos always do the best. So I could go to my audience and say, what do you like to see from me? Parenting content, marriage content, coffee content, you know, just kind of asking, getting that interaction. And I really like that too. See, cows and grandbabies for Tracy. Like, I feel like we know what our thing is. And I just think what's so cool about what Lori's doing is she's having so much fun, and it's so evident how much fun she's having. And it's like the business is blowing up almost as a byproduct, and she's just truly creating joy. And I just think that that's so inspiring. And so I think if we just really kind of hone in on this, and I think I'm guilty of just saying like, and Kelly and I were talking about this the other day too. Like I'm guilty of just saying, well, I just need to do what I know is going to get me the quick win that I need. But instead kind of playing the long game for a second. And you don't set aside the quick wins, don't set aside host to post, you don't set aside all the other things, but you add in really blowing up your personal brand and not here's the secret about what Lori Conway has done. And this is the last thing I'll say. The secret to me about what she's done is that sometimes people feel like it's either or. Like I'm either going to do a network marketing business or I'm going to be an influencer, and I can't do both. So I'm either going to pursue this network marketing thing and be all in network marketing, or I'm going to go and just like, you know, do try on hauls from Amazon. Like it's either or. But what Lori has done is she has done both. And what she's done that's brilliant is she's created another income stream for herself as well, because she is doing brand deals and she is reviewing things. But her It Works business has blown up and is seeing massive success because of it. So to me, just like so inspiring and so challenging. And I think all it is like kind of a kick of like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to do this. And it's going to take some effort, especially in the beginning, to like be figuring this out. But the reality is that the payoff is huge and it's going to be so much fun. Like the reality is it's going to be so much fun, and we'll, you know, you get in a rhythm of it. So I think that was all that I wanted to add.
Okay, last thing that I'm going to add really quickly, as Claire was talking, and I kind of already said this as well, but, you know, she really said, like Claire said, you can kind of tell like the things that are going to work well, but pay attention to the trends of each platform, right? There might be certain things that work a smidge different in each of those. And so use that to your advantage. Some of the content may be similar, but you can utilize the platforms in a way that's going to benefit on each different one, so that we can maximize the different ones and pay attention to the trends. And if you've got the business accounts, you can click the little view insights or get analytics. Like you can see what's doing, or, hey, I'm noticing most of my people see post on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Like use that to your advantage and post some of the things that you want to post, or hop on your stories then, because you know more people are in there. And so take advantage of those things that the platforms give us. But I think sometimes we can almost, because again, we're focused on checking off the boxes of the different things, and those things are important to work our business as well. But then why not utilize that to your advantage? And you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to be growing your network. You're going to have a lot of fun doing it because you're sharing content that you're passionate about, right? It's so much more fun to write posts or share things on your story about things that you're like, oh my gosh, I really, really love this, versus just like copying and pasting a post and you're like, well, I just got to get something up. Like I guarantee you the people can feel like your heart and soul behind it too. And I know that, like, I'm speaking to myself as well. So that's all we had for tonight. I think it was just a really great reminder, because it's not necessarily just getting back to basics, but it's figuring out, you know, the basics of who you are and what you want to be on social media, because this business is a part of that. But it shouldn't be, like Claire said, one or the other. It's like, no, we can benefit all of it. And I think it's going to be helpful in the long run. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know. That's all we have for tonight. Super short and sweet. It was a really good conversation. It just got me excited to just, you know, really sit there and brainstorm. So take some time tonight. If you haven't kind of figured out some of those things that you dropped in the chat, you know, take some time tonight and just be like, okay, how can I start tomorrow by getting in front of more faces? Maybe it's making a live video and you haven't done that in a while. Maybe it's getting on your stories and putting your, face in front, you know, those different things. Kelly, did you have a question? Oh, okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Well, you never, because it says raised hand, and you know, I never know if that's accidental or
I didn't
whatnot.
interrupt you. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good.
I just, it's just really something to consider. I get this social media newsletter emailed to me weekly, and I literally just read this morning. And I think it's really important to think about, especially in the time that we're in with like holiday, and we're trying to get really strong momentum. That every day that you post just for posting's sake, you're actually hurting your algorithm, because what they do on each platform is they measure and weigh the reaction to what you're putting out there. And if you're just putting out content that doesn't align with you, that you don't feel passionate about, that's just copy and pasted from somebody else's wall, which no judgment, we all do it. But you know, if you're just putting it out there for putting it out their sake, you're actually hurting your algorithm when it gets no reaction. So just, I hope that frees you up, because I think we feel pressured to put up a certain amount of posts and certain times. And honestly, if you're putting out stuff that people value, I don't think that matters. The quantity doesn't matter, it's the quality of what you do. So just use that as a liberating thought, and instead of that pressure.
I love it. I love it. Such great reminders, because I mean, it is at the end of the day, sometimes, especially like when you're getting new distributors in, and we can all be like, oh, post this and this, or post X amount of time. And I know, like, I was very strategic when I did that, but it's just important to make sure that, you know, you're putting out content and engaging with people, but not just copy and pasting, because we want to bring more people to our page, and not just, you know, because a lot of times even too, that's going to be affecting your host posts. Because even if you're adding all these new people to your network, but you've been posting in a certain way where it's just negatively affecting your algorithm, you know, you're not going to see the fruits of that. So I love it. All right, y'all. Well, you guys have a great night. If anybody has any other questions, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get this recording up, and I hope y'all have a good one. Bye, y'all.